Firstly, thank you all so much for coming. This is awesome. So it's a fantastic opportunity to firstly get to know a lot of people here, to be able to present some really critical information that can dramatically impact the way in which you navigate life. So I hope you get a lot out of it. The process that we're going to go through today is to run through the presentation. There's a lot of information on the slides, and typically when I run through this presentation, it can take upwards of 2 hours. What we're doing is we're condensing it tonight into an hour. It's Friday night. We want to get home to our families and those sorts of things. So I won't be reading all the information on the screen, but you can look at it. And then after the presentation, we're going to do a Q&A. Now, because of the number of people that are here, at any point in time, if you have a question, just put your hand up, right? And if I don't see it, right? So there's no problem at all. I like these type of opportunities to be really interactive. So we can, at any point in time, when you're sort of like, what did you mean by that? We can get the explanation. If there was 500 people, it'd be a different story. So we did have a really good registration. So we had about 30 people register for the event. Obviously, some people had planned to come last week and someone handballed me COVID. So plans changed, but that's okay. Life's all about being able to be dynamic, create shift and move forward, and that's what we've done. So, Belinda, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, to collaborate with Derrimut 24/7. And it is one of those things where we look at it and we go, at Derrimut 7, you walk into the main area, and it's believe in yourself. So that is really what we're trying to do here. And in order to believe in yourself, there's a whole lot more than just saying it, right? It's one of those things where you look at it, you go, okay, positive thinking, believe in yourself, go, rock it. And you're like, how do I do that? What is the foundation of belief in oneself, right? It's self-trust. Because if you don't trust yourself, you won't believe in yourself, right? It's the foundational requirement. You have self-trust. Once you lose self-trust, you lose self-respect. Once you lose a little bit of self-respect, you start seeing less value in what was once there, which is, of course, value spins around to worth. So if you've lost self-trust, self-respect, self-worth, you're then separating from identity. And this can cause significant issues in our life. So through this process, it's going to be about empowerment. It's not just handing down all these woes where people are going, oh crap, this is me, right? We're going to give you some solutions. We're going to dig into this at all different levels. So hold on to your hats because this will be awesome. Now, that's cool. If people come in late, that's fine. We'll just let them find seats and those sorts of things, and we'll just to and fro from there. So, can everyone see? If you can't see and I'm sort of in the way, feel free to, there's a few extra seats kicking around so you can sort of jump into those areas. The boundary management program that I've created here is called Fortify, right? These are the reasons why we call it Fortify, because the very meaning of Fortify is to provide you defense as protection against attack. When we go out every single day, we are exposed to attack. That is just life. But when we learn to represent ourselves, when we learn to speak our truth with peaceful confidence, then all of this can shift. It is to make you stronger and more secure. It's to give you new tools. If you don't have new tools, you use the ones that you do have. And more often than not, they're not serving you. And they've led you to a point where you may have been manipulated or coerced or abused or worse. But ultimately, boundary management is to set you free. And I just want you to take a couple of seconds and feel what being free is like. You see, when we attach things to an emotion, we'll go after them that bit harder versus just things that we're saying. So in your time, really feel, what is it like if I were free? If I was safe, if I was supported, accomplished, valued, if I could speak my truth with peaceful confidence, If I could say no without guilt and shame, without excuse, without big stories, just simply deliver the answer, bang, and be comfortable with it. Now that is a life of freedom. So here's one of the questions that we need to ask, and it's a really, really confronting question. You know, are you a people pleaser, or are you a people appeaser? Because there is a significant difference between the two. Isn't it wonderful to be a people pleaser where each party benefits from the good act and good deed that is done, versus being an appeaser, someone that submits their will to others? You see, when you do something pleasing, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and it's reciprocated, and it's accepted the way in which it was given. Both parties walk away well. But when you submit your will to another person, multiple things happen. One, you lose trust in you. Because your intuition is speaking to you, and you are not representing it. And therefore, your intuition is like, serious? And it can tell. And you lose trust, and then you lose respect, and so on and so forth. So what I try and do is encourage people not to hide behind beautiful words. You see, it's lovely to say, you know, I'm a people pleaser. It's not really comfortable to turn around and say, shit. No, I submit my will and I'm a people appeaser. And when we start speaking truth to ourselves, not down to ourselves, but truth to ourselves, we can start creating shift. So I just want to talk about the learning journey, because this is really, really fundamental. So there's 4 key steps to any process of learning. The first step and the first place that we start is you don't know what you don't know. And it's as simple as that. I often use the analogy of driving. There was a time where you didn't have a clue how to drive in any way, shape or form. Your parents did it was pretty cool, and one day you want to do it. And then you get to a certain stage in your life where you become consciously incompetent. So you become aware of some of the skills required, yet you haven't done it. And this is a level of conscious incompetence. So you know it, but you're not good at it yet. But then you start practicing, and you get your 120 hours up, and you start experiencing all different aspects of it, and you become consciously competent. In other words, you know it, you're becoming competent at it. However, it takes conscious effort. You've still got to think about it a bit. And then we move through to unconscious competence. So for those that drove here tonight, how many of you thought about every aspect of driving on the way here? Right? My hand should be down, because neither did I. Right? Now that is another program that we should run, but at the same time, this is the thing. We become unconsciously competent. In other words, we are so good at it, we no longer have to think about it, which is awesome. It's awesome for things that serve you. It's not so awesome when we're doing the exact same thing for things that don't serve you. And through life, we create so many belief systems within us. And the belief system impacts your perceptions. Your perceptions impact your perspectives, and your perspectives impact your prospectives. And it happens like that. So if your perspective on life isn't serving you, for argument's sake, someone is starting to put pressure on you and you are submitting your will and you are doing it automatically, it's not serving you, but it's happening time and time and time again. We want to create shift in our life. We want to feel free, but we're doing everything tracking in the wrong direction. So what is boundaries? At the end of the day, I boil it down to 3 key things. It is self-worth, intuition, and integrity in action. 3 things is what we need to remember. Low in number, high in power and value. So self-worth, it's the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. Come in. How are you? Awesome, thank you. We've only just started. Grab a seat anywhere. No, you're right. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. So self-worth, we need to have self-worth. Why? Why is self-worth so important? And what is self-worth other than what I've just read there? Is self-worth how you feel about yourself? Nope. I set you up there. Right? We think about it that way. We look at it and go, self-worth is how I view myself, right? No, it's a series of actions. That's where self-worth really sits. It's a series of actions. It's representing you. It's representing your core values. This is what self-worth is, and it's knowing it. Intuition. Intuition is the way the subconscious mind communicates with the conscious mind and is the protector of your self-worth. You know, how many people have been in a shitty relationship? Right? We get it. Right? Righto. I get it. And how many, if we go back to those shitty relationships or that shitty relationship, when was the first time your intuition spoke to you and said, this is not good?
When it ended.
Right? When it ended, probably right at the start too. Probably in the early stages. Sure, maybe a little love bombing came your way and you're going, this is too good to be true, what the hell? But the reality is, at one point, they started bumping your will. They started bumping your character, because that's what manipulative, coercive, abusive people do. Insecure people, they attack you at the character level. See, character resides at the center core of your consciousness. And when you're attacked at the character level, it hits hard. So when they bump your integrity or your truthfulness or your compassion or your loyalty or your commitment, that hurts. And your intuition is like, But you see, because of the love bombing, we want that relationship so bad because potentially we don't have the level of self-worth that we thought we did have, that we start accepting less than. We go back to that learning cycle. We unconsciously, competently do things that don't serve us. So now we're becoming aware of it. And integrity, it's a quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, but it's so much more than that. Integrity is about representing you. One of the things I talk about is loyalty, right? And anyone that's been in an abusive relationship, you go, I'm too loyal, right? You go, how high? If I said to you, give me a score out of 100 for your loyalty, what would you give me? 100? Right? 10? 110. Absolutely, right? And now, what if I attack your character right now? Because you hold that close to you, right? And what if I say, yeah, I don't think you do sit at 100 or 110. I don't actually think you sit at 90 or 80 or 70. You're kind of like, there's more of us than you, we're going to have a shot at the title, right? You don't like hearing that. What if I said at best you're 50? Be confronting, wouldn't it? Said this to a Scottish woman. I'm glad she was over in Scotland because she also was a UFC fighter, and she said, if I was standing there, I'd punch you right now. 100%. So how are we looking at loyalty? We're looking at loyalty and I go, okay, 50 points out of the 100 is how loyal you are to the outside world. The other 50 points is how loyal you are to yourself. Now how loyal are we? You see, all of a sudden you're like, shit. Yeah, 50 is probably a good number because I don't represent me. Well, having integrity is representing you. So we've got to start looking at that loyalty card and go, I do hold that close to me. And you're right, I do have to represent me. Why? Because I'm worth it. Why? Because I'm going to tune into my intuition, because it's there to protect my consciousness, and I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to stand up and say no. And we'll dig into that deeper. Let's keep going, Jess. So what are boundaries? We talk about boundaries all the time, and I say to people all the time, I go, what are boundaries? Right? I look at it and go, they can't cheat on you, right? That's a boundary. They can't hit you, right? That's a boundary. They can't manipulate you. You know, none of these are boundaries. None of these are boundaries. These may be point of no return. These may be things that will terminate a relationship, but that's not a boundary. Who wants to be in a relationship where you're working at the absolute worst and that's where we sit? Go, that's not boundary management. How would the business run if all the employees were able to be at their worst? You go, that's not how it's going to operate. And it's the same in your own life. So personal boundaries, there's a lot of writing on the other side of that screen there. That's what you find if you type it into Google. And I think Google's awesome to go, okay, that's really academic and check, but what the hell? How do I implement that crap into my life? Right? This diagram here are what boundaries really are. And they run in line with the 7 layers of evolution. As we develop as humans, we go through major phases of our life. And there's 7 of them. We do go beyond that, but there's 7 and they happen every 7 years. So when we start at the very outside ring, between the ages of 0 and 6, it's about our security and survival. It's about feeling safe. In between 7 and 13, it's about feeling supported. And it's around acceptance and connection. So in these years, when we look reflectively back on life's most significant events, we start looking at it and going, what was I exposed to between 7 and 13? Because a lot of that is how I learned to accept, how I learned to be accepted, right? How I learned to connect and interact through observation. We then go through the next phase, our adolescent years. Our adolescent years are significance and achievement. This is why through that period of time we rebelled. Why? Because what was really going on? Were we rebelling to rebel? Were we rebelling simply because our hormones changed? Were we rebelling like myself and went, oh wow, girl's pretty, right? Didn't know how to control that emotion, right? Or was it more than that? You see, it's around significance and achievement. What are we trying to identify? Who we are. Not who our parents said that we are, but who am I? I know when you tell me this, I don't like it. I don't know how to deal with that at the moment because I'm an adolescent, so I'm going to be passively aggressive or rude or obnoxious or, and at 16, who didn't know everything, right? But we're trying to find our identity. But the reality is in this society, no one teaches you how to ever do that. If I ask the question and go, okay, we're going to remove your profession, your parents, your partners, your children, every aspect of your life, religion, sporting goods, everything. And I said, who are you? Can you answer the question? You see, if you can't answer the question, who am I? How do you represent yourself when you're out in that gym out there? How do you represent yourself when you go to work? How do you represent yourself out on the street if you don't even know who you're representing? And we don't even know how to answer that question. So understanding identity is so critical. And the answer to it, because we're not going to run through all this, we'll go on a real big tangent, is it's the character that resides at the center core of your consciousness. That is your identity. Are you resilient? Are you courageous? Are you truthful, trustworthy, loyal, committed? You see, it's the character that resides at the center core of your consciousness that is your identifier. Because in every single aspect of your life, it's the character that you lead with. If you're a person of integrity, that is what you would lead with in every single situation. And it's why when we're so badly mistreated that we'll ask the question why, and we don't understand it, and we hang on to that because we can't compute why evil people do evil things, because we use our character as a filter. You use our character as a filter, you'll never get that, which makes sense. We then move into the next stage, which is gratitude and care. It's about feeling valued. We want to feel free, evolved, and aligned to purpose. Why is this so important? These are the 7 layers of evolution. So, our boundaries, what are they? The very first question that you ask yourself in any situation is, do I feel safe? Right? Do I feel safe? Do I feel safe to speak my truth? Do I feel safe to represent myself? Do I feel safe to be the man or woman that I want to be? Do I feel safe to represent that? Do I feel physically safe? Do I feel intellectually safe? Do I feel sexually safe? Do I feel safe of my time? You see, all of a sudden we're going, oh, what an interesting way to look at boundaries. Because we simply ask one question and it can apply to every single aspect of your life. So when we look at relationships, what is the first thing that you're looking for? It's for that other person to make you feel safe in every way. If you don't feel safe, bang, boundary. And we'll talk about how we deal with that. Do I feel supported? Do I feel accepted? Am I connecting? This is a boundary, right? Do I feel significant, and are we actually getting anywhere? Do I feel valued by the person? Do I feel free? You see, when we get into connection, we're not in competition. We should be aiming for relationship. Competition and relationship are 2 very, very different things. If you ever want to know if you're in relationship or competition, ask a few simple questions. When we talk, is it about right and wrong? Is it about fault and faultless? You go, that's competition, because I'm standing here not listening to what you say to reply, but listening to get one up on you. That's competition. We will never connect in that way. So how does it make me feel? Well, I don't feel safe. Boundary. I don't feel supported. Boundary. I don't feel accomplished, value, free, evolved, or aligned to purpose. 7 things is all you now have to remember when it comes to boundaries. You can apply that to absolutely everything. This is how I run team culture within organizations. This is how I run relationships. This is how I run financial decisions. Do I feel safe? Is the risk versus return worth it for me? Do I feel supported? Have I got the means to back what I'm just about to... See how it applies to everything that you do, and now it's just 7 things. Well, we normally think of boundaries and we go, okay, where's that bloody rule book? And how the hell am I going to remember all this stuff? I don't. Now I just tune into how I feel. And when you tune into that with your intuition, everything changes. So why are boundaries important? Boundaries give you clarity. They clear the clutter and the flogs from your life. Oh, sorry, I haven't got my glasses on. Right? Clarity enables you to know what needs to be done. You see, half the problem when you don't represent yourself is there's that element of doubt, guilt, shame. But clarity lets you see past that, to see past emotion and desire. And it's to make clear what is and is not okay. Imagine if you could go back in time. You're in that conversation that wasn't a conversation because you were being told and it was an argument. But you were clear what is and is not right and what is wrong. And for you to just represent that categorically and go, I wasn't asking your opinion. I'm telling you that I am not tolerating that in any way, shape, or form. I don't feel safe, supported, accomplished, or valued in this relationship. And unless the behaviours change, I will no longer be in this. That's an interesting conversation. It's to be able to collaborate. We need to work with one another. It's to be able to say no. It's to trust yourself, respect yourself, know your worth. But ultimately, we want to remove guilt and shame, and we're coming all the way back to what I said at the beginning. It's to feel free. So who are boundaries for? I get this question all the time. The boundaries are for everyone in your life. For everyone in your life, there's boundary. What about it's my mum? Boundaries. Doesn't matter who it is. The boundaries apply to every single human in your life. Because it's your responsibility to manage your boundaries and to represent you and to know what serves you, what fills your cup and what doesn't serve you, what takes from your cup. Okay, she might be your mum or he might be your dad, might be your brother, might be your boss, but at the end of the day, if you are feeling less than, that is no way to live. And we need to manage our boundaries, yes.
Do you have an example of what a boundary violation might look like?
Yes.
A family unit, like somebody's mother or...
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll go into all of that structure. But an example of a parent overstepping, the mark might be them saying, I want you to be. And you're going,
Questions, perhaps?
Sorry?
Cynical questions?
Cynical questions, backhanded compliments. So you might have a very abusive parent, all right? And that abusive parent's going to tear you down is very obvious. But you might have a very loving parent. And that loving parent wants to protect you. How do they do that? They try and control you. So what are you being groomed for? Loving parent, doing the best they can with the skills that they have, but you're being groomed for use and service. Because in that loving, beautiful environment where they're controlling you, they are training you to submit your will to theirs, to do other behaviours that they give you a little positive affirmation about. Well done, I'm so proud of you. That was incredible. And you're going, it fucking sucked. Right? To do those behaviours over and over again. To when you listen to your intuition and you question them and you're like, no, I don't think I want to do that. No, you're wrong. And you are then laden with guilt and shame. So you are being groomed for psychological manipulation.
And what age is that kind of...
That will happen all the way through your life. So if we use guilt and shame to get them to do it versus educate them in respect, integrity, very, very different. You see, when you start talking in character, you communicate with your kids differently. So it's the type of thing where we look at it, I've got two beautiful kids here, and it's the type of thing when they do something that doesn't line with what I kind of wanted, it's the type of thing where it's like, you know what? I respect your decision. You empower them in that versus going, really? What a fucking loser. Right? And that's what parents do. Now, they might not say it that directly, but they might, I knew you were going to do that. Yep, disappointed in you. Yeah. So you're using guilt as the driver versus the opposite way. The way in which I teach people to parent is to teach them how to navigate through the issue that they're dealing with and to never give them the answer. Then choosing the best path forward. So how do we do that? We look at someone's past experiences. What behaviours have they demonstrated in the last week, month, 2 months, 3 months, 3 years, 10 years, whatever it might be? What is the past experiences? You're going, well, he or she has been a dog. Okay. being disrespectful, being horrible, being abusive, being manipulative, being distant, whatever it might be. Okay, we now know the past experiences. What is their character like? Are they a person of truthfulness, compassion, empathy, loyalty, commitment, humility? No? It's like, they've been shit, they're low in character. Okay, emotional intelligence. Where's that sitting? We plead with them on an emotional level, yet they have low emotional intelligence and self-awareness. So we start having a look at this and we're like, oh crap, we now have a formula to work out what to expect moving forward so I can then make a discerning decision as to which way I'm going to drive my life forward. I'm not going to sit here and wait for someone to change. Monday they came in, they were shit. Tuesday they were shit. Wednesday they were shit. Why am I sitting here on Thursday going, today's the day? They're going to come in and they're going to go, you're the best, Jamie. That's not what we're going to wait for. And then if we want to cross-reference it and really work out how we're feeling, we ask these 7 questions. How safe do they make me feel in every aspect of that word? How supported do I feel? How accomplished, how valued? And I give a score out of 0 to 7. The 7 layers, we give 0 to 7, and you quite often find out, okay, so they've got a 3 out of 49. Okay, it's not a good thing. And with self-worth, you'll represent yourself. When you're tuning into your intuition, which is there to protect your self-worth, you'll take the right action, or at least you'll know the right thing to do when you implement integrity into that, knowing that you've got to represent you. You will make that right step. Why? Because you don't want to lose trust in you or respect in you or value in you. You don't want to separate from your own identity. So now we've got some key drivers as to how to do that. So what are the type of boundaries? I've spoke about a few of these already. Physical, intellectual, emotional, sexual, material, and time. If we look at sexual, emotional, intellectual, and physical aspects of sexuality, we're not just talking about the act. I'm just talking and introducing a new system to people recently about consent, because so many people get manipulated in this space. And we talk about consent and we go, in order to have intimate relationships, we need consent. And I'm now out there saying to the market, it's not enough. It's not enough. There's 2 things that you need. You need consent and you need permission. Now you might say to yourself, aren't they the same thing? I ask myself that question, right? And I go, no, they are slightly different. Yes, they can have that same meaning, but let's dig into it a bit deeper. When you're in an abusive, manipulative, controlling type relationship, you may give permission because you've been bullied, harassed, manipulated, coerced. You didn't want it, but you've gone ahead with it. You gave them permission. You did not give your consent. Consent is the free will to give permission. Cannot be manipulated or coerced. It can't come under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It has to come enthusiastically. So there's something for you to chew over. Time. Use of personal time, respecting personal time for all facets of life, including health and well-being, work, relationships, hobbies. You're allowed to have these things. And they try and extract that, take that from you. Intellectual, it's your thoughts and ideas. You are allowed to have them. You're not only allowed to have them, I encourage you to have them. Go to the next one. So we talk about red flags. We want to know where they sit in exactly the same places. Exactly the same places. Look at intellectual ideas. Someone that dismisses, belittles your thoughts and ideas. That is a red flag. When someone gaslights you, tell you, no, you don't feel like that. right? Of course, I know how you feel, and you don't feel that way. Why? Because it doesn't suit my agenda. Oh, gotcha. Right? Personal feeling, someone dismisses, criticizes, belittles, or invalidates your feelings. That's a red flag. So we really need to understand this space. We need to represent it. The other thing about red flags is you go, okay, what's a red flag? I see a red flag, dump him. Right? No, it's not a red flag. Look at a stop sign, a give way sign. They're red. What does it mean? Come up to that intersection, pay attention. Look both ways, maybe check a couple of times. So it's grabbing this information and we have a look at it and we go, right, I'm feeling invalidated right now. You know, I don't feel safe in this space, or I don't feel supported. I don't feel heard. Bang, I need to address that, and we will talk about that. So boundary protection. What do your boundaries protect? You. And this is how we visualize boundaries, right? We want to be protected out there in the world. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be manipulated. We don't want to be abused. So we put a concrete wall here. We put one here, one here. We put them under us, over us, and a cage in front. Now I've got boundaries around me. Now I'm safe. Bullshit. That's not boundaries. That's putting you in prison. No, no, no. You want to get towards me? All the boundaries are around you, not around me. Why? Because boundary management is to set us free. We want to be free. So the boundaries are around Jesse. He wants to get towards me. He needs to make me feel safe. If I don't feel safe, I'm sorry, pal. He's getting big. The boundaries are there to protect your self-trust. Self-trust, the firm reliance on the integrity of yourself. Your self-respect is having a deep admiration for your abilities, qualities, and achievements. How many of us are humble, right? You can't be humble without self-worth. Humble isn't the absence of knowing how incredible you are. Humble is knowing how amazing you are and living modestly. I don't have to throw it down everyone's throat, but if I've got to know it, otherwise that's not humility. But we're not taught that. As soon as you go, wow, beautiful young woman, you're like, oh no, I can't be. No, bullshit. We are what we are. You know, intelligence, you know, compassion, loyalty, commitment, honesty, truthfulness. No, this is what we are, and I'm not apologetic for it. It protects your self-worth, the internal sense of being good enough and worthy and love and belonging from others. And it protects your self-love. Self-love is a strong sense of respect for and confidence in oneself. It's having a high regard for your own well-being and happiness. Here's the kicker. Self-love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. I've got no problem sacrificing some of my time and do something lovely for you. No problem. But it's like I've been married to my wife, you know, and with her for nearly 25 years. We're coming up for 23 years. And I love her with everything that I have. But if she wants me to set myself on fire just so she can be warm, it's like, babe, it's going to be cold tonight.
Don't give her any ideas.
So how do you visualize boundaries? So here we've got the 7 layers of evolution. We look at it, we go, do I feel safe, supported, accomplished, value, free, evolved, and do we have alignment to purpose? For any point in time, any one of those boundaries get triggered, what do? It goes into the red zone. You want to know why I call it the red zone? Couldn't come up with anything better. Kind of fit with red flags. What happens when a boundary is triggered? Because it has to trigger an action. When a boundary is triggered, a serious discussion needs to be had. And behaviours need to change immediately. A serious discussion needs to be had. And behaviours need to change immediately. Otherwise, we're not managing our boundaries. Something happens, it's right there and then. What if I'm on my first date? Perfect. Throw it out there on that first date. Why? Because I want to see how you respond. I want to see if you are going to listen to hear, or if you're just going to have a rebuttal and try and bring me down, tell me that I'm wrong. I get to learn a lot by speaking my truth. Why do behaviours have to change immediately? Well, why would they not? If I was doing something that didn't make you feel safe, why would I not want to know that? And why would I not want to change that behaviour immediately? If I've got your best interest at heart, if I'm thinking about you, if I'm in relationship with you, of course I want that to change. I don't want my wife feeling unsafe. I want my son feeling unsafe, but I don't want my wife feeling unsafe. So I've just got some examples here of what would push things into the red zone. Yelling and screaming. Why would you tolerate someone yelling and screaming at you? It's not going to make you feel safe. It's not going to make you feel supported. It's not going to make you feel accomplished. It's not going to make you feel free. It's not going to make you feel evolved. So you don't tolerate it. Disrespect on any level, we don't tolerate it. Silent treatment. Now your partner might say, listen, give me 10 minutes. No problem. Versus deliberately ghosting you, deliberately breaking a line of communication to manipulate and coerce you, to make you feel guilty, to make you feel shameful, to push you into a corner where you're eventually going to submit and yield. Withholding the truth. Withholding the truth. I didn't say lying, simply withholding it. Why? Who wants to be in a relationship where you're going, he might not lie to me, but he ain't going to come forward in his truth? How can I feel safe in that relationship? How can I truly feel loved if they're withholding truth? Lack of presence, blaming and never being wrong. Look at the list. The transferal of insecurities. You're not going to go out looking like that, are you? Oh, I'm a damn hot chick. Why wouldn't I go out looking like this? Well, because my insecurities can't handle that. But I'm not going to say that. Oh, so you're trying to get the attention of all these... It's transferal of insecurities. It's like I'm trying to find a partner that, look, my wife, absolutely hot, but I'm too terrified to her to walk out to the gym, so now I manipulate her and abuse her and don't get her into that environment and hide her from it. No. Bullshit. If you can't handle this, see you later. Then what happens when people don't listen? When behaviours don't change? When they don't give you the space to sit down and have that discussion? Hard limit. See you later. Point of no return. Bye-bye. People go, oh, that's a bit harsh. You go, no, it's not. That's the management of boundaries. Why am I going to sleep beside someone that is lying, bullying, manipulating, gaslighting me, cheating, ghosting, psychologically, not a hope in hell? I have to sleep with one eye open. That's not going to happen. So this is how we will look at it and you go, whenever a boundary is triggered and we've really got to get, this is uncomfortable. But this is what we have to start doing. No, sorry. This is how I feel. So we don't only accept and seek clarity, but we give clarity. When I'm feeling this, I give clarity. Because I now know how I'm feeling, I'm sorry when you do that, it doesn't make me, I don't feel safe in this relationship. So I can now articulate that. Now, if they don't respond well to that, Okay, we might be pushing to a hard limit and see you later. But we know the price of what happens when we don't do that. So although this may seem harsh, we know the price. What is the price? Our self-trust, our self-respect, our self-worth, our value, our own identity. And sorry, not another day will go past where that will ever be taken from me. So I just want to think about boundaries and go, there's two clear different types of boundaries that we've got here. Unilateral boundaries and collaborative boundaries. So the way in which we look at that is we've got unilateral, uni, meaning one. You are the only person that is involved in setting these boundaries. And they are based around your self-trust, self-respect, your self-worth, right? Your values, your belief in your purpose. I am a person of integrity. I'm a person of truthfulness. And if you want me to be anything other than that, bad luck. We're not even having the discussion. A collaborative boundary is something where we come together and my wife and I go, well, how are we going to raise our children? And are we going to invest in a property or a business or, and we discuss different things. That's collaborative and no problem. Around my self-worth, I don't have to ask her for her opinion about what my values are. She doesn't have to ask me. My son, my daughter, any of us in this room, you've got your own values. You don't need my input. You don't need his input or her input. They are yours. They are yours. They are non-negotiable. And unilateral boundaries override every single collaborative boundary. Every time. So how do we set them? We keep it uniformed. We keep it simple. We know our worth, listen to our intuition, and we live with integrity. So you need to love you. You need to put you first. You need to stop apologizing, right? You want to, instead of saying I'm sorry, try this on for size. Say you're welcome. And if that doesn't fit, maybe nothing needs to be said. I'm sorry, dinner's a little bit late. What the fuck? Dinner's on the table, you're welcome. Why would you apologize when you've cooked a beautiful meal and put it in front of the person that you love? I ain't apologizing for that. Oh, well, I wanted it half an hour beforehand. Oh, you may have. Eat it or get out. 100%. Stop justifying and making long explanations of your position. You don't need to explain. Think about it, seek clarity, understand what it is. Right? For those who've got pen and paper, write this sentence down. Right? It's an entire sentence. Write this down. It's worth noting. Ready? No. It's an entire sentence. What part of that do you not understand? Right?
What? Yeah. What? I'm like that. I feel like I always have to explain.
Yeah. 100%. You go, nothing could be clearer. Right? Would you like to do X, Y, and Z? Let me think about that. No. Right? Now, there's a few other ways that we can do that if we want to be polite. No, thank you.
How do you override that? Like, I have some clients, and I'd like to think that I've kind of recovered from apologising for everything.
Yep.
But I have some clients that start doing it when I'm working with them, and then I notice I start doing it, and then I'm like, stop apologising.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's owning. It absolutely. Because effectively, right, you look at it, you go, what are you leading with in that moment? Empathy. Right? That's a business transaction where you're bringing empathy into it. So how do we combat that? Right? Lead with compassion and not empathy. So what's the difference? Someone falls down a hole. Empathy goes, come here. Now we're both down a hole, but we've got each other. Right? Compassion goes, you look like you're in a spot of bother down there, pal. I'll tell you what, here's a rope and I'll help you out. So instead of using empathy in that business situation, empathize, understand, get it, recognize that, step into my power, right? Come with compassion. It's a beautiful way of managing that space. And it's to remove guilt. To remove guilt. We're going to dig into that in a little minute. Listen to your intuition, trust it, tune into it, spend time paying attention to it. You know when your intuition is going, this ain't good, it ain't good. Listen to it. Clarity is about removing emotion and desire. In other words, we grab that situation and we go, yes, I have an emotion, a desire, I want an outcome. But I need to park that outcome and look at reality. What is the evidence in front of me? The evidence in front of me is this person is disrespecting me. I need to deal with that and not my desire for them to be something else. Otherwise, the person that I'm in love with is not the person that I'm in love with at all. I've actually created an avatar that they are not. And I'm in love with the avatar. But I'm making decisions as if they were the avatar. That's where we get destroyed. Trust your intuition. Seek clarity through self-reflection. Know what is serving you and what is breaking you down. Clearly identify why you need or where you need boundaries and understand why you need them. To protect you, to set you free. Live with integrity. Communicate clearly. Be assertive and speak your truth with peaceful confidence. We're going to dig more into that. Say no. No. No, thank you. And if you want to be a little bit clearer, fuck no. Set clear, tight boundaries. And be congruent to the loop. Be congruent to your intuition and your self-worth. Right? To remove guilt, coming back onto that point, one of the issues that happens is you get asked a question. Your answer's no. You feel guilty. Right? Because we don't understand what just happened. What just happened, if I were to ask you a question and you want to say no, I have put you in a position. Now, if I've asked a question, what I am telling you is that I don't have an answer, right? Why would I be asking a question if I had an answer? What I'm saying is I don't know. And if I'm coming to you, I'm going, I believe you do.
What if you're dealing with someone who literally doesn't comprehend what boundaries are? You just go see you cover there.
Yeah. It's like you open the door and you bid them good day. Now, depending on the relationship, are we talking about a mother, a father, a cousin, an intimate partner, those sorts of things? We will have a discussion. We're going to have a discussion and go, listen, this is how I am feeling. I feel that you don't respect any of my boundaries. As a consequence, I don't feel safe within the relationship. And if I don't feel safe within the relationship, unfortunately, I have no choice. I can't be in a relationship where I am unsafe. It's breaking me down. What you're asking me to do is to submit my will to yours. And I'm not prepared to do that. You see, it's a conversation we don't want to have, but it's a conversation that we need to have.
Jamie?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, because I've had that conversation many years ago with my son's father. And he's extremely manipulative, in my opinion. And these types of people, they always push back and say, well, you don't respect my boundaries. You don't show me any respect.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're standing there going, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So what is that? It's projection. It's projection. What a manipulative person does is they will project that onto you. So they are absolutely doing that. So it's about having clarity. It's about understanding exactly what's going on and not being taken away from your point. So it's the type of thing, it's like, I am sorry that you feel that way, and let's come back to that. But what I want to talk to you about first is the subject that I brought up and that I'm feeling this way, right?
Goes into a circular
And I'm not going to have that discussion, right? Instantly, what's actually going on? They are saying to you, I don't fucking care. Correct. They're going, I don't care. Piss off, not interested. It's about me, remember? And that's what you need to hear.
so good to have this education now, because at that time,
Yeah.
I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought it was me.
Absolutely.
I'm like, oh, maybe it's my approach.
Yeah.
He's telling me I'm not asking right, so I need to ask.
And it's gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological tool used to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your thoughts, memories, and perceptions of reality.
So what do you do in a situation like that where it is a professional relationship, so you can't
Yep.
just walk out the door?
Yep, no problem at all. So then it comes down to the relationship. You know, am I reporting to the person, or is there a person reporting to me, right? So if I am reporting to that person, I'm obviously then going to look at the situation and go, who do I have above that person, and can I get support there? If not, right, I'm going to talk to that person, it bounces back. I'm going to talk to someone above them. If it then bounces back, I now have a decision to make. I go, this organisation has a terrible culture. And because it's such a large part of my life, I need to make a decision to represent me, because I am not going to work in an environment where I am manipulated, coerced, belittled. And it's like, yeah, but I want. It's like, yeah, you may want this, but you don't want that. Which one do you want more? So it's like, bang. So I always say escalate it to see if you can talk to a senior manager. And if a senior manager isn't hearing it, the organisation is telling you that they have a poor culture and they do not care about their employees. That is the message that you need to hear. You are working here, we don't care. So then we have to make a decision. It's the same in relationships. We don't want to. It's like, I've got kids to this person and I don't want to, and all of these other moving parts. Doesn't take away from the fact that you are being broken. It's like, I'm going to make every effort I can to have this discussion, to articulate it, to communicate it. However, when people stop listening, stop talking. All right. So, how do we manage boundaries? Now we're really coming into it. There's 4 ways. We can be passive aggressive. Right? Smart ass. Make them run late. Those sorts of things. It's a poor line of communication. It does not work. We can be aggressive, so we can flip it and we can try and dominate. Again, you're never going to get the desired outcome, particularly if you happen to be smaller, perhaps not able to do that, hold that dominance stance. But if you're high in empathy and compassion and you snap, reactive abuse, and I'm fucking, what is the first thing going to turn around and go, see, you're psycho, right? Have a look at you screaming at me. They're going to spin it right round in your face. And what are you going to do? You're going to accept responsibility, be filled with guilt and shame, and hate yourself even more. It's reactive abuse. It's like poke. Look, you hit my hand. You psycho. So hang on, you poked me in the chest 20 times. You hit me. And you're going to go, I am so sorry. I shouldn't have done it. Yep.
Off to jail you go.
Right? Bang. Submissive. Read this one. Conforming to the will of others, to put your will below theirs. Listen to these words. To be obedient. Who wants to do that? No. To truth with peaceful confidence. So we now look at this and we've got to combine this with our boundaries. So I'm going to speak my truth with peaceful confidence. In other words, I'm going to step forward and go, that ain't happening. Not happy with your behaviour. Now, I'm only going to do that when I look at my boundaries, and my boundaries say, do I feel safe? Do I feel physically safe right now? Because if I don't feel physically safe right now, I'm not going to speak my truth. I'm going to address the fact that I am unsafe and I need to extract myself from this situation. So I don't say speak your truth with peaceful confidence and get yourself into a bad situation. So first we have to check that. But when we are physically safe, I'm going to speak my truth with peaceful confidence. When? Every single time. Every single time.
What happens if you don't get into that position where you do feel unsafe?
When you do feel unsafe,
Be able to speak.
then it's about reaching out to someone that can help you. You know, I put exit strategy plans in place for women all around the world to help them escape that type of situation safely. So I typically say reach out. There's a whole host of services that can do it in different countries around the world, or speak to someone that knows how to extract you out of that situation. We create a plan and then we execute on that plan. So as soon as you are not safe, we deal with things very differently, right? Because there's so many other things that we've got to take into account. You know, I'm working with a few women in protective custody. So there's a whole host of things that we have to deal with in that space. But it's to speak your truth with peaceful confidence. So we think about that, right? We talk about the question that I said. I've asked you a question, you need to give an answer. Are you a truthful person? Yes, well, I'm asking you for your answer. You're truthful. Do you have integrity? Yes, so in other words, speak your truth. I'm putting you in the corner. I'm asking the question. I'm putting the demand. And all you have to do is go, okay, you don't know the answer. You've come to me, so you want my answer. I don't have to wear guilt and shame the fact that you've come to me. And you may not like my answer, but that's okay. Perhaps you should have asked someone else. But my answer, my truth is my truth. And because I'm a person of integrity, I'm going to represent me. What a beautiful way to find out if someone is a piece of shit. Because if they ask you a question, you give them an answer, they turn around and now try and break you down. It's like practice gratitude. Woo! I'm going to dodge a bullet here because this is the last time I'm talking to your dumbass. Right? How many women have been called a nag? Right?
Among other things.
Among other things. But you look at it, you go, what is nagging? It's a reminder that you're not managing your boundaries. Why should you have to ask more than once? They're telling you, you're not managing your boundaries. I'm running all over you right now. Serious? And you're like, thank you for the reminder. So next time you get called a nag, remember that one. Go, yeah, righto, I need to step up here.
8 months pregnant out the front whippersnipper in the grass.
Right? Absolutely. So boundaries. It's knowing your self-worth, it's listening to your intuition, and it's in having integrity for you. It's to love yourself, to trust yourself, to respect yourself, and to speak your truth with peaceful confidence. Stay strong. So that is the boundary management program. I know how'd we go for time?
Hour and 41 minutes. Actually, no, because we started like hour.
Hour?
Hour 10.
Right. I'm so sorry that I've gone over time. There's a lot of information there. You're welcome. I love it. I love it. That is awesome. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I have a friend that's a very close friend of mine, and she oversteps my boundaries all the time because I let her.
Yep.
She says all the right things, but her actions don't live up to that.
Yep.
And I just find it really hard because every time I say something, it kind of keeps happening, or she is kind of mean to me. Not mean, she means to me.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how to handle it. I just feel like I keep trying to step away, but she keeps like,
Yeah.
and then I feel bad for trying to get away.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at it. You know, is that a demonstration of self-worth? Self-worth isn't your opinion of yourself, it's a series of actions. So what we're looking at is we're going, people will tell you whatever they want you to hear. But the reality is that actions that speak the volume. That's where we truly know. How many people are telling you that they're going to transform their life and do everything, and you're like, Yeah, I saw you 3 weeks ago and things don't look like they've changed too much, right? Because it's the action that's the reality. So it's the type of thing where we now need to speak our truth and you go, listen, you're an awesome wordsmith and I appreciate that verbally you're here but I'm going to need to see the change in behaviour and I'm not going to keep having this same discussion. I value you as a friend and I really want to give you the opportunity to shift and be part of this. But unfortunately, this is the last time I'm going to have the conversation. If the conversation is required, it won't be had. But I will no longer maintain a friendship. You've got to be comfortable with that. And this is why we look at it and we go, listen to your intuition, right? Let your intuition guide you. Don't just go by my rules. Follow your intuition. These are guidelines to help you navigate this space. You know, when you communicate, you go, I don't feel valued by the way in which your actions, you know, display themselves in our relationship. And as a consequence of that, unfortunately, you know, it's causing X, Y, and Z. So we seek clarity, but then we give clarity. But it's about enforcing that. It's having integrity, right? It's like I said it, right? It's a type of thing like when my kids were growing up, you know, how many times did I count? What number did I get up to?
1.
No such thing as 3 in our house. Oh, yeah, you kidding? Right? It's like it just didn't happen. Why? Because I set that right from the get-go. I don't want to have to ask twice. And people start learning in relationship that that's how I operate. And most people just are compliant. They are. They will fall in line. They go, no, listen, I can't do that. I'll find someone else I can push around and do those sorts of things.
How do you deal with somebody that changes their behaviour temporarily and then just goes back to the same old shit?
Well, it's the number of time that I'm going to allow that to happen. So depending on the relationship I have with the person, you know, like I had a great friend, right? And deep down, he's a bit of a scumbag. But his scumbag behaviour wasn't directed at me. As soon as it started becoming directed at me, we had the discussion, we no longer see each other. Because I don't want those people in my life. If you want to look at how successful anyone is, go see the people that they're associating themselves with, right? And I look at it and go, how many people can I have in my inner circle for that to directly impact me? You go 5 or 6, I'm going to choose them wisely. And I'm sorry, you're on the bench. Right? It's like you want to be around those that want to lift you, to elevate you, to motivate you, to inspire you, to speak their truth when you need to hear it, but to articulate it with love and compassion and empathy. So you might come up to me and say, listen, Jamie, you know, here's an issue. But if you come up to me and go, hey, you fucking dickhead, rah, 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 well, I'm not going to hear that because I look at it and go, you don't have my best interest at heart. But if you sit down and say, Jamie, listen, I want to have an uncomfortable conversation with you. Are you in the space where you can hear this? So yeah, sure, absolutely. And then you say, listen, I've noticed, and you come to me with love and compassion, then I'm going to hear you. Why? Because I want to be in a continuous improvement mindset. I want to continually grow and learn. I want to evolve constantly. So I want to surround myself with people that pick me up, that recognize when I'm stepping out of line. You know, we have these conversations and I do all of this, and Shelley and I were having a chat the other week and she's like, you're such a great dad and I'm such a shit mum. Why can't... Just having one of those mum moments. And I said to her, yeah, how did I get here? And who was the one that elevated me? You see, I had a short fuse in certain places. I had rule sets for my daughter based on what my dad had done that I didn't agree with, that I implemented. How long earrings? Yep, you can get your ears pierced when you're 15. And Shelley went, whoa, why? And I was like, why what? Why can't you get her ears pierced? And I was like, what do you mean? I haven't really thought about it. I go, well, my sisters couldn't do that. Oh, so you want a parent like your father? I'm like, nope. Well, can I suggest perhaps you go away and think about this? I go, I don't need to. Yep, she can get it done. I was manipulated, wasn't I? Damn it! But the reality was, she grew me in that moment. She softened me with my son. I wanted my son to be a warrior, a terminator, you know. And when I'm young, you know, and immature and inexperienced as being a father, those qualities came through in everything, and it didn't have the softer sides. And my wife's like, what? And she grew those softer sides in me. But this is what it's about. Right? We're not arrogant, we're humble. But we know our worth. So we can be in all environments. And intuition is going to lead you there. Any other questions? Yes?
Dealing with the fury after you cut these people off.
Yep. Yep.
It's very real.
Yes.
Like, how do you best cope with that?
Yep. So, the big answer to that is digging much deeper into your self-worth. Right? So it's the type of thing, the deeper you get into a relationship with you, the better you handle these situations. So it's the type of thing, yes, there can be some overflow. So when we start talking about co-parenting or parallel parenting, so if you're with a narcissist, you're not going to co-parent, you're going to parallel parent, right? Narcissists won't do that, right? Everything that you're going to do, they're going to try and do the opposite. They're going to try and manipulate, coerce, make things as bad, as worse, as awkward, as all those sorts of things. So what you have to do is then manage that situation. So you manage them like an employee, not like an ex. That's how you deal and navigate through that space. You will never, with a manipulative, narcissistic type person, co-parent. Co-parenting is like a relay race, right? All heading in the right direction. You know, on the weekends I'm passing to you, but you're going in the same direction, then you pass it back and we go in the same. That ain't happening with a narcissist. You know, which way are you going? South, I'm going north. No, okay, well...
You said you were going south.
Correct. Okay, if we go north... I never said north. No, I said south and you said north. No, never said north. You're making that up. What? Why? Because narcissists don't deal with reality and truth. They go through the filtration system and they throw in the bin reality and truth, and out comes their perspective. What's narcissistic perspective? What serves me? And only what serves me. What do you need to think? I need you to think how I want you to feel. Right? So the fallout is getting into deep relationship with you, because when you're in incredible relationship with you, so what does that mean? It means knowing your worth, right? Building trust in you, building respect in you, seeing your value, knowing your identity and being able to articulate it, learning to speak your truth with peaceful confidence, being able to say no without guilt and shame, right? Detaching from traumas. So this program isn't about that. I've got another one where we go through all of that stuff, but it's detaching from traumas, right? So traumas create belief systems, right? Belief systems come from repetition, something that happens over and over and over again, and dramatic emotional impact. Trauma. Create belief systems. And it's the belief system that's not serving you. So when I say to you, you know, it's time that you leave and I'm going to get this fallout, my belief system is what's going to impact my perception, which is going to pick my emotion and feeling. The more we are in relationship with ourselves, the less that matters. Because there's only one type of person that's really going to kick up if I do that, and that's someone that doesn't want the best for me. You don't want the best for me? There you are. Glad I can see it. Another way we can do that to find it is to implement gratitude into your life. That's another whole subject. But gratitude will change the whole direction of your focus. Gratitude will actually look at a situation and it will bring back lessons, wisdom, knowledge and experience. And with that lessons, wisdom, knowledge and experience, you can then implement it to the situation. We're looking at it going, you know, why would I be grateful for a bad situation? You go, no, I'm not asking you to be grateful for a bad situation. I'm asking that what comes from that. It's that understanding, it's that knowledge. But if we don't look at it, it's sitting there, but we don't know how to use it. Any other questions? No? Beautiful. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I hope there was some value there in all of this. I really appreciate you coming. Do you want to say anything on behalf of Derrimut, Belinda?
No, I'm just like, yeah, really thankful that you came to me with this, I think it's great.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jamie.
No, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Will you hold more?
Sorry?
Will you hold more of these?
My intention is absolutely. So a whole host of different things in different areas of life to help people navigate all these different spaces. But yes, absolutely. But now this was just a bit of a test, and now we know exactly what it is. Then we can put different, marketing strategies and those sorts of things in place. So, but it was really good. So thank you everyone for coming. No worries.